All right. Took a moment there for everything to get going. I had Apollo on my lap, but we had some technical problems at the beginning. So he's sitting there right behind me. I just want to say hello, and then maybe I'll bring him up in just a second. Nicholas here. Good to see everybody. We're going to be doing some exciting shifts today in the format. Instead of doing a review at the midpoint, I'll be adding in a viewer's choice section. We'll be doing blessings and blocks, and I'll kind of mix it up a little bit. So stick around until the middle, and basically this should give it a nicer sort of flow. I've been using some inspiration from some of the Sunday readings that I've done where I don't do the reviews and nobody missed them. So let me know if you like it later when I'm finished. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. That little furry guy behind me is Apollo. And what I'll be looking at today for you is the next 6 to 8 weeks. Of course, this is created for October, but a lot of the messages that I have in front of me right here are going to be valid for right here, right now. So I begin every reading with channeled messages that comes through Spirit Totem, dreams, meditations, and also just the automatic writing that I do here. I'm going to move into a Celtic Cross shortly thereafter, which is just traditional card reading, and we'll see what comes through with that. But I also tap into intuition in that portion. And I let it take on whatever shape or form it needs to. It's not just about love. It's about soul work, self work. Then we'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny to make sure that we highlight those areas that you like. No review. I will then do blessings and blocks, which will help us look at some of the best and some of the not so great things that are coming through so that we can be prepared. And then I've selected some topics, and I'll also maybe come up with a few on the fly as we go through this that you can vote on. And I'll probably do that when I begin the blessings and blocks. So you can start voting as I do those two, and then I'll take a viewer's choice question. And then I traditionally have something that I call the soul path, and it's probably going to evolve as I change up my format here. So I'll look at everything that we've talked about, and I'll see if there's like a big question that is unanswered, and maybe I'll pull one more card. Then we'll meditate, and then I do a final question at the end that you meditate on. So that's the new format. I think you'll like it. There's less repetition by taking the review out. We'll just try it for a month and see how it feels. I'm definitely one that is open to change and open to movement. I'll pull Apollo up for a second. You want to say hi to everybody? And then we're going to get started. I know some of you enjoy seeing Apollo before we begin. A couple of quick notes as I get started. If you would like to show some love and support today, you can do that by, first of all, just hitting the thumbs up and the subscribe button. It's easy to do. Apollo approves of it, and it basically helps my channel get discovered. You can also purchase a super sticker or super chat, and at the very end, I will say thank you. I don't want to interrupt the flow while I'm doing it, but I will take a few moments at the very end and do that. And if you happen to be watching me on replay, you can hit the thanks button, which is right by share. So thanks in advance to anybody that does that, because it does allow me to continue to produce more videos. I'm now doing about 16 a month, where I used to do 12. So it does make a difference, and I give it right back. Okay, let's get started. Maria, by the way, will be my moderator today. If you have any questions, she'll be there to help. If anything gets out of hand, she'll also be there to help me out. Let me post before I get too deep into the reading, just a way to contact me or find out more information. So here's my official website and my official social media links. You can take a look there. A reminder, this Sunday, I'm going to be doing a collective reading. I do it every Sunday now. Everyone's welcome. I think I'm going to focus on one major topic instead of two, and then I'll continue to experiment with that format. So it's all about change here in the summer of 2021. So I hope you're enjoying some of these changes and shifts in format. You have to grow, and that's one of the things. You have to change to grow. So that's one of the things that I'm exploring. All right. So you have a dual totem today. It's going to be comprised of both the dragonfly and the dove, two of my favorite symbols, to be honest. Dragonfly especially, because whenever I'm having a bad day, if I see something like a dragonfly, a butterfly, or a hummingbird, immediately, to me, I just feel better. It's a sign from spirit that, first of all, I need to change my perspective, and then also that change is happening, since they're all, especially dragonflies and butterflies, they're indications of transformation. So let me just pull a couple visuals up here, and then we're going to talk about what messages I picked up on as I tuned into these totems. So for the dragonflies, we're going to get up close and personal. They have an amazing amount of like vision. And if I look here to get specifics, I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, but I think it's 30,000 little facets on that compound eye, which is amazing. It affords them nearly 360-degree vision. They have a little blind spot in the back, but I thought that was amazing. They're also just beautiful, beautiful iridescent colors, blues and greens, somewhat transparent wings. I really find that to be a beautiful totem. And we'll talk more about the doves in a moment. We're going to look at partnership and communication as some of the aspects that came through when I was looking at the doves. The dragonfly was your primary totem, so I'm going to focus on that one first. All right, let me go ahead and get into the messages here. So again, dragonflies and doves. Dragonflies are over 300 million years old. In prehistoric times, they actually had wingspans of almost 2 feet in length, which I think is amazing. And I think that's 0.6 meters or almost 3/4 of a meter. Yeah, 3/4 of a meter. So pretty darn big. And there actually were some other precursors to the dragonfly that were even bigger. When I did my research this morning, a lot of that was because the oxygen levels on the planet were higher. So because of that, insects could grow a little bit more. So that's why that kind of insect couldn't survive in our current atmosphere, but back in prehistoric times when it was like all forests everywhere, it was a lot more oxygen, probably a lot healthier too to breathe. So these gigantic, they were the size of birds. And there weren't the sort of predators yet, the dinosaurs weren't there yet. This was one of the first insects as well, 300 million years old. So with this kind of a totem comes like ancient knowledge, survival, energy, because it still exists today, even if it's smaller, and also this sort of transformational energy or movement. Dragonflies have a different sort of transformation than we would see in moths or butterflies. They actually start their life in the water, and they shed their skins many times in a process called molting, until eventually they're ready to emerge on land and spread their wings. That process, though, of living in the water can be 2 to 4 years. So if we can kind of overlay this on our own lives, many of us are in a slow but steady 2 to 4 year process of change. And this change and growth sometimes is very visible, sometimes it's right under the surface. And if you ever watch a video and you look at either a cocoon or chrysalis or this sort of like anything that's coming out of the water and shedding its skin, it's interesting to see that a lot of times the change has already happened. They're just waiting to break through. So they don't see, no one else would see it, but they feel it on the inside. So one thing that I wanted to remind you is that transformation can be very slow sometimes. So you want to be patient with your own path and realize that what happens is one day it just kind of catches up with you. So the epiphany, the awakening, the aha moment was a long time building. A lot of dominoes had to line up and then eventually kind of like come to a head here. But you may be anywhere in this journey. You don't need to compare yourself to someone else. Wherever you are, you're exactly where you need to be. It's more right now just kind of like an awakening. So this is the moment, kind of like in Doctor Strange, where the monk comes in and hits him in the third eye and wakes him up and kind of helps him see it from a different perspective. So that's what we're trying to do today, is look at things from a different perspective. Change and growth is the main thing that is coming through with this particular powerful totem. The 2 to 4 year cycle could, for some of you, make you think, oh my gosh, why is it taking that long? I look at it as a good thing. It tells me that you have 2 to 4 years to develop things. You need to make some long-term plans, though. For those of you that are already doing this, it's confirmation that you're on the right path, everything's good. If you're not, however, this is an encouragement to start to set some goals, because the more we know where we're going, the faster we can get there. Otherwise, we amble around like a pinball, and you're hitting random things on the way, and it can kind of be messier. So I want you to have a smoother transition from where you are now to where you want to be. As I said at the introduction, dragonfly eyes are really, they have amazing vision. And so I was kind of doing some of the research, maybe even better than humans. They can also see in the ultraviolet range, just like honeybees can. And they have this ability to almost see behind their head. Not all the way. There's this little tiny piece in the back that they can't see, but almost 360-degree vision. Time to see the big picture. That's what this is showing us. And also, it's time to get out of things that we're used to. So I love cards like the King and the Queen of Wands, but when those cards go reversed, it can sometimes be living with blinders on or living in your own world. And so this particular insect kind of hovers up like a helicopter. It can go in every direction, which I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but it's important. So basically for us, we need to be able to get out of our own worldview, look over here, look up, look down, get a real kind of like temperature check on what's going on. That's going to be important to avoiding a misstep, to just communicating more effectively. And you have the capacity to do that because this particular totem came through. What you're going to be leaning on is things like, or are things like empathy and your own sort of intuitive capacity. So feeling what other people are feeling, putting yourself in their shoes, trying to think like, would I react probably the same way? And if so, maybe I have more compassion for that person. It's also telling me that you're the perfect conduit for problem solving. So if people are looking for a mediator or just, someone that can help get them out of being stuck, you're very nicely positioned to do that over the next 6 to 8 weeks because you have this increased vision, whether it's coming from here or all of your sort of heart and soul. Whatever you're doing right now, keep doing that. It's going to help you out. Okay. Let's look at the next piece here. Dragonflies are beneficial. It's a helper insect. It helps humans in particular because they eat things that we don't like biting flies and also mosquitoes, which carry diseases like malaria, etc. And I believe that they can eat between 30 and 100. I didn't write that down, but the facts are fresh in my head, per day. So each dragonfly that you see out there is making your garden better. So this is an insect where we want to protect its habitat. But if we kind of take that helper energy and bring it into what does this mean for Taurus, it means that in addition to being able to kind of solve problems, I think you just are going to be attractive in that sense, kind of like lover energy. People want to be around you. They want to buzz around you because they feel better, because you can help them. You want to protect yourself a little bit in that respect because it can get really exhausting constantly being a source of assistance, of support, and make sure that you're using your voice to, as I talked to Aries yesterday, to say no, to push back as necessary. Okay. The next piece that I already hit on a little bit was that the dragonflies they're like amazing navigators, great at flying. They can go up, down, they can hover. They do all their hunting in the air. And of course, they also mate in midair. And really, basically, it's showing me that for you have the capacity to navigate through challenges. You just have to keep that open mind and keep an open perspective. Listen to people, read up, just like I do. It's amazing what, when in an hour or so, I can kind of get a lot of research done. Just imagine if we did that for all major decisions in our life or for new people that we meet. We just try to really get to understand them. So a little bit of research can get you a long way. So listen, do your homework. If you do that, the dragonfly is there to lift you up and bring you to something better. It's also interesting that this goes from it's kind of a combination of the earth and the water because they're kind of along the bottom of the water. So it makes sense for your sign. And then it rises to the air. So I think for you, rising above emotions, making sure that you don't lose your grounding or your footing is going to be important. And then pretty much free flying after that. So a lot of movement, a lot of communication is going to happen. The communication is carried into the next totem, which are doves. But let's talk about, broadly speaking, what these can do for you or what they're symbolizing. Symbolizing hope. Keep your hope. Keep a positive outlook. I had a phone call the other day with a friend who I could tell it was very difficult. It was hard for me after the call, and it was hard for them. So sometimes if a person lacks hope or perspective, that's going to be challenging. Don't let it rub off on you. It took me a day or so to clear everything out, and I was like, okay, I'm back to me. But make sure that you keep an open mind and don't let other people kind of push you down or suppress your energy. It's also a symbol of love and divinity, obviously connecting to the divine. Partnership and communication, however, were the things that I wanted to focus on for this part of the conversation. Like a homing pigeon or like Mercury or Hermes itself, you would have the ability to be that go-to person when it comes to delivering messages. You may find yourself in the messenger role. If you are in that messenger role, try not to get caught in the crossfire or the drama. You want to instead get in and out if you're supposed to do that. But I would also encourage other people to use their own voice. Say, I could say this, but it would be more powerful if you say it. So you could be the coach to say, just practice with me and then we'll get you there and then you do it. That's going to, one, help them not be codependent on you, and two, help you from getting blamed for something that they have you say. So it would be better to coach and let that other person use their voice, and instead use your throat chakra this month, because speaking, writing, and leadership opportunities are going to open up for you. And I think that's where you should be focusing, using your own voice, your own vision, being authentic, and making an impact with your communication, rather than being the go-to person or that conduit in between. Yes, you can do the problem solving. Yes, you can do the message delivery, but you don't want to just be Mercury or Hermes. You want to be more than that this month. The doves also represent true friendship, deep love, and lasting partnerships. I believe mourning doves in particular mate for their lifetime. So there could be a lasting partnership in business. There could be a great new friendship coming in, and you have a chance to mend old sort of relationships if there was a problem with that. Prioritize relationships across the board, even if it is just networking. If you're not interested in love, or if love is good for you, you can grow your friendships or grow your professional network. Work-life balance, like the Two of Pentacles, is also coming through for you. So for those of you that only work or are only putting energy into relationships, there has to be a kind of a nice balance. It doesn't have to be exactly 50-50, but somewhere like give and take, okay? This particular message here came from a dream in particular. What I saw was you, ostensibly, kind of just getting angry and yelling at an inappropriate time. So I would say channel any frustration, anger, or passion, whatever it may be, into something positive or constructive. So if you're not happy with something, don't let it build up. Just like change, eventually things get to a point where there's no choice but for them to be seen. So I'd rather you reveal your feedback in little tiny controllable and digestible bursts rather than something really big and difficult for someone. So it feels like there's stuff you need to say. Your throat chakra seems to be taking center stage here with the doves. Just use your words in a good way. Speak up frequently. Just make sure that the feedback is constructive. A lot of times people will just complain. Sometimes I see complaints in the comments. Sometimes people in my own life complain about whatever, but there's no constructive element to it. So if you're going to say you don't like something, say, how about this? Or try this instead. Or try to understand, say, I'm sure this is difficult. Have you thought about this? Always try to kind of like provide a sense of empathy, a constructive element and support. Say, if you want to talk, come to me. All of that's going to be better than just dropping some stuff that they have to deal with, right? And then my guides wanted me to specifically say it this way, so I'm going to say it this way. They wanted me to tell you to keep the lights on. I believe this has to do with other people dimming your glow or your light or your luminosity. But it could be something special for each of you. And they were kind of insistent on it. They just showed me like turning on a bunch of lights. They said, keep the lights on. So that's my message to you as we close the channeled messages, is to keep the lights on, focus on the positive. Change and growth is really what's coming through. And we're going to look at it in the cards here. 2 to 4 year cycle, not months, but 2 to 4 years. There's a big shift coming through for you, which would take us into like 2025, right? I've been seeing 2022 to 2024, 2 to 4 basically being big. So this makes a lot of sense to me. This year is the cleanup year. There's a lot of stuff that we have to do. We'll be doing it together each and every day that I come live here, and today's no exception. All right, let me stack up all of these index cards, and just a couple of notes. If you missed any of those messages, because they do go fast, don't worry. What I do is usually a day or two after I post my video, you'll find all of these cards on my social media platforms. In particular, my website, Facebook, Instagram, and the community tab here on YouTube. So I'll flash my social media links here just in a second, and feel free to join me. I'm actually going to put these on the table while I go get a drink of water. So if you'd like to join me across social media, here are my handles. And you can also go to the pinned link up above, and you'll see a list of all the social media platforms there. So, sorry, I had some water in the refrigerator, and I forgot to grab it, but I got it right now. So. Okay. And sorry, I meant to put the Twitter one is slightly different. So Twitter is Ashbaugh. Everything else is Nicholas Ashbaugh. All right. Let's go ahead now and get started here. We're going to be looking at the Celtic Cross. Again, some new things coming through today. I'm going to do a viewer's choice after we get through all of this, so stick around for that. No review today. I will do a big idea review after this, so just stay tuned. By the way, this can be used for any aspect of your chart that you happen to know, whether it's sun, rising, moon, or Venus, or you know your whole chart and you want to geek out, you can come to all of the readings that are relevant to you, okay? Cross-watching is welcome. You can watch on behalf of someone that you love. All right, let's take a look at all of these messages and see what's coming through for you. All right, so in your catalyst position, which by the way helps you stay on track, it helps you avoid any pitfalls, we have become the elixir. It says, let your glow do the heavy lifting. And remember, the final message was keep the lights on. So this card was reversed, but let's look at it in the upright position. We have a beautiful card here that kind of reminds me of sort of like temperance or something like that. But really being patient is something that we've talked about here. There's also kind of like a lunar aspect to this particular card too. So let your glow do the heavy lifting. Positivity, engagement with others, self-confidence, belief, and trust in your bigger purpose. It's going to be important. These are sort of the intangible things that make a difference. If you've ever met somebody and there's just this like connection, you know it when you feel it. And so a lot of times when you're in that sort of flow of energy, it just becomes easy for other people to be around you. You have that kind of attractive, very, very, sort of like energetic connection. That's kind of what I'm picking up on here. So I want you to trust yourself. Trust yourself, feel that things are going to work out, stay positive about it. And this is kind of something that people want a little bit more of. It's like an elixir. They want more of that. So focus on that. We'll look more in a moment how we can kind of stay in that glow. But this is very much in alignment with the final message that I had from the channeled guides here, which was basically to keep the lights on, okay? So definitely don't let anybody dim your glow. And I actually use the word glow, which makes sense because that's not something that I would normally say. I would normally say dim your light, so I like that. Okay, center card. Decision time is at hand. We have Justice upright. She's usually finalizing a decision when this card is in this position. A lot of times it's easier to read her reverse because reverse justice means you've decided to let something go, walk away from something you're trying to right or wrong. When it's upright, there's still some consideration. Judgment shows the decision being made. Justice shows a weighing of options. So by the end of the next 6 to 8 week period, many of you will need to make a decision. The sooner you make that decision, the better. I like that she's upright. I like that she's at the center. That's basically saying that it's a good time to balance things out. Justice is on your side. That there also could be a really strong Libra coming into your life. No matter what, I like what I see here, and it feels pretty good at the center. Finding that balance that we talked about, also essential. Because if you are doing everything for everyone, the scales fly out of control, and then you're wondering like, where, how did I get here? So just constantly focus on finding the balance. What a great card to cross this. 3 of Pentacles, fantastic card for success and for recognition. For those of you looking to complete something, this card is saying it's already more complete than you're giving yourself credit for. It's nearly done. For those of you that have started something new, like college or a project or some sort of a really like even an internship, something where you're exchanging energy. I like what I see with this. You want to continue to do the right thing, to stay balanced, make sure everything's in check. But I feel really confident about where you're headed here. So good trajectory, good direction. There's a creative energy with this as well. A lot of times this will come through for artists or writers. That's why we see the all the little paint, whatever you call those things, paint containers there, and then of course the canvas here. So I want you to think about paint tubes here. I want you to think about what it is you're trying to create. Again, we talked about the, well, really 2 to 4 year plan, but I would say even 3 to 5, that's something that we look at more in business. So look at that. Where are you headed? And put some stuff down in writing. This is a great time for many of you to sign a contract. Again, get a good lawyer, make sure it's this, I want it to be more 50-50 or whatever kind of a stake you want, you can have it, okay? Fight for what you need, revise it as needed. I see a very fair contract resulting from whatever revisions you make, okay? We've seen 7 of Wands a couple of times. I think yesterday it came to the viewer's choice question. For you, it's slightly different. It's coming in the deep past. The 7 of Wands reminds us that we can do everything that we need to do, but we don't have to do everything for everybody all the time. There's an opportunity to delegate, to balance, and to push back a little bit. It also reminds us not to get defensive, that as long as we're doing what we see as the right thing, then, you don't have to always explain everything to everyone. There's a community energy to this that I wouldn't normally see until I got to the 8 of Wands. So this is definitely reminding you that you're not alone, even if you sometimes feel like you're in the front and center. It can feel lonely when you're the boss, the mom, the leader, or maybe if you're kind of more of a lone wolf or you own your own business like I do, there's nobody there. I do everything that you see on this channel except moderation. Everything soup to nuts, all me. So sometimes you feel like this 7 of Wands and you've got to keep pushing. So this is reminding you that you're not alone, that people are also supporting you, and you can delegate, you can ask for help, you can get through this. I always want to see you get from the 7 to the 8. And the 8 of Wands, then energy starts to just kind of pick up in such a way that it's sustainable, that you can almost like set it and forget it. So you have a little bit of a push to do here. Focus on the little details. Keep on doing what you're doing, and I feel like you're going to get there faster than you think. Here is the 2 of Pentacles that I mentioned when I was going through the channel messages. Work-life balance. I very rarely see this as a limited resource for you, especially when we got the 3 of Pentacles at the center. I think this has to do with finding a balance between who you are and who people want you to be. Your current situation and also where you want to be. And then legitimately looking at your resources and making sure that you're not over-promising too much of your time, too much of your energy to any one person or thing. So do an audit, a personal audit of resource management, love, time, energy, money, etc. And make sure that you can keep your promises, that if there are any debts that you need to kind of get rid of, you're going to deal with those first. And as you kind of get realistic with what you can do, people are going to respect you more. Sometimes pushing back or saying no or delegating, people will then see, wow, you're strong, you know your limits, you know what's possible. I like you because I can trust you, because you're real, because you're not overstretching yourself. Okay. We have a hierarchical Hierophant here at the top here. I actually like the Hierophant in the crowning position for you. I like that we see Buddha there, and we see sort of what looks like the Dalai Lama or some sort of a monk here. So what we want to really do is kind of use the energy of the doves that I was talking about. Walk the path of peace. Your communication is very much going to be something that could be scrutinized. With the 3 of Pentacles, we want to imagine that, well, it's already happening. A little fun fact. Everything we do and say is recorded in the Akashic record. And the Akashic record is a sky record of everything we think, do, and say. It's kind of all up there. Our actions are written. So just assume anyway, like when I do a live, I know this is out there and it probably will be out there until long after I'm gone, because once something's out on the internet, it's out there. So let's just assume that because it's accurate, everything we do in our life is also recorded in the same way. So when you start to say or act in a certain fashion, just think, is this something that I want everybody to read, myself included? Then it changes the way that you treat people, that you treat yourself, that you make decisions. So this is higher consciousness coming through, and understanding that scrutiny is a piece of this, being scrutinized. So you'll be able to surpass other people's expectations. You might need to kind of, use your own voice, do something different, but also make sure that you're doing so in a way that is kind, that is something that you'd be proud of, that your mom and grandma would be proud of, and that your higher self would be proud of. So just act in accordance to the fact that things are recorded, things are noticed. You definitely have some star quality this month. So you just want to make the best of it, okay? The star quality is actually communication and leadership. It's not necessarily, people following you on Instagram or something like that. It's just that they look at you and they think, we need to talk. So this is a good month for business, by the way, Taurus. I'm feeling really good about it for you. This is a star-like card as well. All right. The only block that I'm seeing so far, we'll take a look a little bit more when I get into blessings and blocks, is the Five of Swords. Five of Swords, an argument, a dilemma, conversation that's going to be difficult for you to win, and maybe not worth it. We're looking at this particular one, and we see someone that could sort of be taking for granted the audience in the room. So treating someone poorly, but that's being noticed. It could also be you feeling little and unable or incapable of speaking up to that person. Fight the fights that are worth fighting. Just because the Five of Swords comes through doesn't mean that you shouldn't go through some sort of a conversation or argument or battle or whatever. It just means that it's difficult. So if there's something that's worthy of your time and energy, fight it. If it's someone else's fight, try to get them the support and resources they need, but you don't have to fight it for them. I think that's the message as I look at this Five of Swords and I combine it with with what we were talking about earlier, okay, in the channeled messages, with being the sort of conduit, the go-between, the communicator. It's sort of like when you're in school and someone has a crush on someone and a friend goes and asks but messes up the way the delivery is horrible. You would have been better if you just went to the person that you liked and said, hey, are you free Friday? Let's see a movie, than to have some other person mess it up and try to say something. So don't be the one that messes it up, and don't entrust somebody to carry your message when you could do it. Okay, that's the message here. I just think back to that and the note writing and the game of telephone, and when the friend delivered the message and then tried to say it back, and everything gets messed up because of sometimes the go-between. So don't be the go-between, and don't use a go-between this month. And that's going to help you with avoiding this as well. Okay. All right, we have an Ace of Swords right in your soul energy this month, again with communication, with action, with movement happening. Different decks here, but we have a very similar energy here, seeing a crescent moon. So for some of you kind of moving through the moon phases here, it might be half a month, it might be a month, depending on where our current phase is. But pay attention to that and understand that things are revealing themselves. We don't know if this is waxing or waning, but it's safe to say that not everything has shown itself just yet. So take your time in getting into new situations and new contracts. Let people reveal their true colors. We want to see, it either needs to be a new moon or full moon. I want to kind of see the full picture or be more able to create things. But it's a good time to speak out, to put things in action, to write down your goals. That's a really great way to hold yourself accountable, and to also, if somebody wants to know, like, what's the plan? You say, well, actually, here's the plan. I've been working on it. Be ready. If you are a writer or any sort of artist this month, the fact that I got both the Three of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords, and we see like creative energy going in there, writing and painting, I would say it's a really good time to get work done. Even construction on a house, especially actually the Three of Pentacles, because a traditional Three of Pentacles, Rider-Waite-Smith, you would see someone that's finishing up a column. So they're literally kind of up there putting the finishing details. But at this point, it should be the finishing details, not a fresh construction. So I would say either planning something out, getting all the blueprints done, or finishing something up. So before you start the construction, just make sure that you've gotten all the permits, you've taken all proper legal actions, etc. All the ducks need to be in a row, okay? But anyway, I like the Ace of Swords, and there's nothing bad with this. Good vitality, good communication. If you're in a relationship, it could be very physical. That's one thing that's coming through with that as well. Let's also make sure that the verbal piece is in there. Okay, we have the Two of Wands here in your environment. So the planning that I've been pushing you to do, I think, makes a lot of sense right now. Because what I like with this particular Two of Wands is it shows the manifestation energy here. We have a little bit of the Magician. I always associate Two of Wands with the High Priestess, but it's both, really, because You have the high priestess piece is, usually the person is holding a globe or a crystal and they're looking at it. It's the seeing and the believing. But it's also the integration here of I am the channel, I can create that, which we see in this. So the magician energy is that. So stay connected to your goals. If there's something you've put off for days, weeks, months, years, I don't care how long it's been, I want you to pick it back up this month. You're going to have better luck doing it. So whether it was a fitness routine, getting a book published, trying to find a job, trying to just improve your general health and well-being, take some time this month and you'll see strides in the right direction. All right. Make a plan, stick to it. People around you are going to be more receptive, which is why this Two of Wands is there as well. All right. Be open to a happy surprise. We have the Two of Swords, a similar message that came through yesterday for Aries. This is a revealing card. When the card is reversed, it's revelation. So you're going to finally see people and things and opportunities for what they are. However, nobody, myself included, can tell you which path to take. You and you alone have to sort of sort it out. With the Two of Swords, whether it's upright, reverse, sideways, I don't care. There's never a clear-cut path. Usually the person is standing before two paths and they don't know what to do. And the truth of the matter is you're going to have to take the information, take your intuition, and just make the best possible decision. Like the dragonfly that we talked about earlier, you have this capacity to fly in every direction, to navigate. So don't worry. I think once you start moving, things will be okay. Then you can move up, down, or around as necessary. You can navigate. Okay. So stagnation is the only thing you don't want to do, and that is the Two of Swords. So we're moving past stagnation into decision. You spent more than enough time planning, from what I can see here. Action is really what you want to focus on. All right, your final card is what I was talking about earlier about comparison, comparing your life to others. And what I wanted to remind you was, as we looked at the messages here, you're exactly where you need to be was the message that I wrote you. You can't always compare your life to other people's lives. It's nice sometimes to sort of think that, if you just do a certain thing, it's going to work, but we don't know what someone else's path is like. So trust, I can't find the exact card, but here it is. You're exactly where you need to be right now. And sometimes we don't know the karmic path that someone has taken to get where they're at. So maybe they've spent many lifetimes learning lessons, so it happens really fast this lifetime. Maybe they were just better at manifesting and believing in themselves, so the moment was more impactful. So for you, believe in yourself, focus on yourself and your path. If you have anger or frustration, it could be about what I just talked about, your life compared to someone else. Keep focusing on you. Focus on the environment around you as well. Are people receptive? Are they not? Are you missing something? Because usually Four of Cups for me is an opportunity that could be missed or lost because of perspective. It can also be sort of thinking the grass is greener when it is not. And that's what we see with this card, is that it's not exactly the way you think it is. So dig a little bit deeper, and there's probably a hidden blessing on the horizon for you, okay? Let's expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Beginning with your health card, we have, I already pulled the Dragonfly in this particular deck yesterday, but this is probably the next closest card that I could get here with the sort of fairy magic or earth magic. So the interesting thing, we sometimes have this romanticized version of fairies, but for those of you that are metaphysically connected, they can be tricksters. I'm sure you've known this. I've experienced that sort of energy where they're giggling and doing stuff, and it's not always what you want. So what I'd like you to do this month is to focus on getting yourself together. And if there's anything where, you've just been not taking it serious enough, take it seriously this month. And then if there's anyone around you that has that sort of fairy-like energy, a friend, a coworker, a family member, it's sometimes fun to be around that, but there could be someone in your midst, much like you would see in a Shakespearean novel or play, where the fairies wreak havoc. So if you've worked really long to sort of like get your finances together and someone encourages you to take a vacation that you can't afford, or if you've finally gotten sober and then someone in your life is tempting you, whatever the temptation or the trickster sort of energy is in the environment, push it away and stay on the sort of like the path that you've forged. It's important to avoid those distractions. Otherwise, it's magic, and fairies can be good too. So the earth magic piece, which is really good for you, Taurus, is saying that as you ground yourself, as you get into the outdoors, as you connect with nature, you're going to be better able to do everything that you want to do. It's also reminding you to, sorry, hard to get it with this reflection here. There you go. It's also reminding you to believe in your own magic potential. Magic is real. It's just a truth that we haven't yet discovered. That was a line from my own book here. So basically, we call things magic that we don't understand. We once thought that, you know, it was kind of heresy to think that the world didn't revolve around the earth. You know, I should say the planets and the sun and everything. The more we understand things, the less sort of mystical and magical they seem, and the more we just understand that there's, you know, science and energy at work that we just haven't yet understood. So your capacity to do things this month, you could surprise yourself. The manifestation piece, the intuition piece, because all we're doing is reading energy and realizing, hey, I can actually affect this thing called time space. So let's do it. So you can do that, okay? Even though we don't know what to call it or why it works, manifestation is real. You can manifest new things this month. You can heal yourself this month. Move into that energy of magic. Avoid the sort of fairy stuff, which can sometimes be temptation, trickster energy as well, even though it's kind of fun. Again, think more like Tinkerbell, where she's causing some trouble. Sometimes that's not too far from the truth. Not all fairy energy is bad, but some can be tricky, okay? So let's move on to some specific messages here from the cards. And give me a second here. So with the earth magic, with thinking about how you can affect things. All right, so definitely, what are you trying to set your sights on when it comes to health and well-being? What's your priority, which is something that I was helping you focus on a little bit earlier. With that, I think it's really, the sooner you know what you want, the sooner you can start to achieve that. If there's something going wrong in your body or in your mind or whatever, ask for help. Go speak to someone, because this can be a denial card. Don't ignore the red flags when I see the Two of Swords. I had actually, I have a small fracture in my foot just from hitting it the wrong way. And when I went to the doctor, and I'm fine, I can walk. But my guide showed me, and they told me about a week before it happened that something like this would happen. And once it did, I was like, you can't always avoid stuff. But I felt a little pain in my foot, and I'm like, the x-ray didn't show it. We had to get an MRI, and there was indeed a fracture. Trust what you feel. I wanted to make sure that the fracture wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't. But I felt it in my body, and so I got the test that I needed to make sure that, like, I feel it. There's something there, and I didn't tell them about my intuitive download, because not everybody understands that. But I just said, no, I know my body. Something's up. So trust yourself, just like I did. Get a test if you need to. It can be scary, but it's better to know the result. Mine wasn't that bad. I just have to take it easy on this foot. But I don't have a cast. I don't have a boot. Things are okay. So things like that happen. So just dig a little deeper if you feel like it. Even if you're afraid of what the outcome could be, it could be better, like it was with me, and it's not a big deal. I want you to focus on Three of Pentacles. For me, can be prescriptions, believe it or not. So make sure that the prescriptions that you're taking, that there's no counter actions between them. Sometimes different doctors don't speak, so you might have specialists that are giving you different things. So bring that to your primary, or talk about your full list of medications if you're taking any, to make sure there's no interactions between one another. Standard disclaimers apply here. I am not a doctor. I'm just reading the cards, and I'm helping you see signs and signals that could help you on your path to well-being. Spirituality plays a big role this month. Take time to meditate. Some of you may even choose to go down that path of spirituality for healing, for just to kind of add more to your life. And by all means do that. The Hierophant is just as powerful as the High Priestess when it comes to being able to connect to source. Okay. Those are the main things that I'm seeing here. All right. Nothing really that bad, actually. The only thing here for you might be even just like stress management a bit with the Five of Swords. Okay. All right. Let's move on to wealth. So with wealth, we have in the flow, everything is smooth sailing. I kind of said that earlier. I'm feeling good about your overall money and career path, especially with the Three of Pentacles right at the center. And I got that sort of visibility. Some of you just may not be feeling that flow of energy, which is why this was upside down. So I would say, take a moment to steer your own chariot. I think I did that. I can't remember if that was a collective or the Aries reading, but take control. And for many of you, this has to do with the communication and the delivery of the communication of that. But I really feel like you're headed in the right direction here. So keep focusing on that. Stay true to your vision, and I think that's going to be key. Let's look at some specific messages in the cards here. You may be pushed to do more than you need to do. This is true of a lot of different industries right now because people quit. Like if you're a person that works at a restaurant as a server or in any capacity, they're understaffed. You could be also working in a bank or a supermarket or whatever. A lot of seasonal help has left, and now the people that have always done the hard work are left to kind of pick up the pieces. If you're being stretched too far, push back, ask for help. If you're not getting paid enough, you have to really start to look at how sustainable this habit is and figure out like, can I keep doing this for a source of income? What else can I do? Some of you may decide to then get different training in order to have a backup plan. All of that makes sense to me. Let me see if there's anything else here. Again, not comparing your current path to others because a lot of times they're projecting their own reality. It's not necessarily completely true. So focus on what's going on from your own perspective. You're going to have to probably navigate some approval hoops this month, some bureaucracy. The Hierophant is invariably a card of necessary hoops. So try to work with some of those people, even if they don't completely understand things from your point of view. Trust that you're going to be able to navigate it. Remember that we saw two key navigating totems rather, with the Dragonfly that can basically go in any direction, and also the Dove, who focuses on peace and also focuses on intuiting and understanding from that other person's perspective. If you do those two things, I think you're going to find greater success when it comes to career. I'm not seeing like a brand new job popping through on this. What I do see for many of you, though, is what you're doing is well received with the Ace of Swords. Make sure that it's noticed. Sometimes we have a boss that's just busy, or someone in our life, even our partner, and they're not aware. Take a moment to remind them of your contributions, not in a way that's bragging, not in a way that's nagging or annoying, but just say, hey, I did this and this. I want to get some feedback on that, or let's take a few moments to talk about this. So speak up. It will then bring their attention because they could be kind of focused on their own stuff. This was environment. So get them to focus on you for a moment, see what's going on, all right? If you want, some of you are kind of like focusing on should I stay, should I go? It feels like if you've got all the details lined up, if everything makes sense financially, I feel very good about Justice and the Three of Pentacles. The Four of Cups tells me that you don't have to, again, explain yourself to anybody. There's always a piece of the unknown when you step into a new opportunity. As long as you believe in it and you're putting 100% of you in that, I feel good about it, okay? So we did get Three of Pentacles. We also got Two of Pentacles. So you have more than enough, but you have to make smart choices with the combination of the two. All right, let's look at love and relationships this month. So the big message on this was love makes a difference. The smaller caption says love can help heal past hurts and provides a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. So of course it does. That's why I wanted you to focus on key relationships this month, because they're coming through in a really big way. We see morning glory, which I talked about recently. Morning glory comes and goes. It's a daily sort of energy. We see it here at the bottom. I also had a totem yesterday where I was talking about basically this Egyptian god that's associated with death and rebirth each day. And just like that with the morning glory, I want you to view each day as a new start. The difference between the lotus, which I talked about yesterday, and the morning glory is the lotus can open and close a few times. Morning glory has one shot to get this right. So for you, for a relationship, I feel like you've got a really big opportunity. Don't blow that opportunity because that window closes. Morning glory is a once and done. The lotus opens a few times. So make the most of this moment in time for relationships. If you need to say something, say it yourself. If you need to do something, you might need to do it yourself. If you've been holding back and waiting, when's the sign? Well, this is telling me the sign is now based on what we're looking at here. Let's dig a little deeper and look at it in three parts. We're going to look at those of you that are in love or in a long-term relationship. This relationship you could ostensibly also put towards a business relationship, whatever. I'm just going to look at relationships. So if you want me to look at a relationship, I'm going to read the energy of that. If you're looking for love, I'm going to focus on that next, and then we'll look at those of you that are single and happy or not focused on it. So for relationship energy, be it work or love, the biggest thing is balance and fairness, and putting into either writing in a business situation or maybe even writing in a marriage. It could be a prenuptial, just sort of like expectations and exit strategy, possibly both. Really make sure everything is spelled out. Make sure that it's fair. Again, really make sure it's fair. I also want you to be good about like just general communication. A long form letter can have a stronger impact on someone than something sent, through Amazon and something's printed, or, a text message. So voice or writing have more of an impact this month. So either pick up the phone and talk to someone rather than tapping it out, or write a long form letter and say what you need to say that way. You can also write what you want to verbally say before you begin. Hello, I do that. It helps with organization. Nothing wrong with that. This is the old English major in me that still does some of that planning here. So take your time and plan. The other thing that I see for the two of you, if you're in a relationship, is there's a lot that can get done. You can kind of go in any direction that you want to this month with the Ace of Swords and the Two of Wands here. Try to get on the same page. There are breakdowns in communication for some of you. Try not to shake the finger like this guy is and point, because by doing that, we're isolating one another. You want to kind of come at it from the perspective of, we're in this together. I care about you, and because I care about you, I'd like to help with this. That means that you're on the same. You're holding their hand. You're there with them, rather than you messed up and you need to fix this. So try to kind of bring the teamwork energy in. Also, make sure that nobody's feeling left out in this sort of kind of conversation. Somebody doesn't feel seen is what I'm picking up on, and just looking at it from a different perspective can help a lot. You have the capacity to improve, to rise above, but in order to do that, the communication has to improve for many of you this month. If you're looking for love, first of all, like front and center, some of you might have a strong air sign coming in, like a Libra. And if it is a Libra too, they're very interested in what you have to say. They might also be interested in your credentials. That's kind of funny that came through that way. I think what's important for you, however, is getting sort of a sense of who you are, where you are, and what you want to do. The planning phase is important, because there's so much that you can actually get done this month. Allow the relationship to take a seat at the table, but it doesn't have to take all of the seats at the table. So I really do think that for those of you that are looking for love, there's a lot of productive energy that's happening, and relationships you're going to have to take turns in the relationships. And that'll be a test for some of these new ones. Is it enough? Can it stand this test, this pressure test? And that's up to you. Again, I think communication is the biggest hurdle for many of you, even though I said when it comes to like business and other affairs, it's feeling really good. When it comes to love and personal relationships, you need to try to not get tripped up in that space. And I think you'll be okay if you do that. I do see good possibilities with respect to new relationships. It's just maybe bad timing or unexpected for some of you. And there could be this person that normally wouldn't be the type of person that you would date for any number of reasons, but it might be exactly the type of person that your soul is calling in. So give people a chance, give yourself a chance is what I would say with that. And now finally, for people that are single and happy, maybe widowed or retired, or just not interested in putting the energy in relationships this month. Well, good for you, because I see a lot getting done. I actually also see maybe for some of you, finally, a contract or someone wanting to buy or purchase something that you're trying to distribute. So this is definitely good for distribution. And for many of you, you're just going to really get a clarity of mind and well-being that you wouldn't normally get. But your thoughts manifest. So one thing that I want you to look at is, if you're single and frustrated, maybe you just given up on love, the giving up portion is self-fulfilling. So if you think to yourself, I'm not focusing on love because no one loves me and nothing's going to happen, then you've fulfilled that by saying that. So open yourself up to be surprised. Say, I'm not focused on love, but if it comes, or I'm not focused on relationships, but if a new friendship or business partnership comes in, I'm open to it. Be open, because I see a closure here that the universe is saying you're missing something twice with these two cards. So don't miss a key opportunity. Open up. It doesn't have to be love. It could just say, I'm open to love and abundance in the highest forms, or relationships and abundance in the highest forms. And you might be surprised by what comes through with that. Okay. So let's take a look at the next piece. And okay, so we're going to look now at your destiny card. Destiny is a trajectory, and the trajectory is one that you can shift if you need to. We have the turtle spirit, which is one that I really, really like, because this is a symbol of the world, by the way. There's many myths where basically the world itself is kind of like the back of the turtle, like our Earth, I should say. It says slow and steady wins the race, something I say all the time when it comes to the 9 of Pentacles card, because I like, oddly enough, I like the turtles and I like the snails because they are slow, but they get there and they survive and they surprise people sometimes. So for you, I've been saying this all along today. You're exactly where you need to be. Don't compare yourself to others. We're on a 2 to 4 year journey towards abundance and wealth and new opportunities. This guy is not bothered by however long it might take to get there. Neither would the snail be. And with the, I actually still have the deck here, with the 9 of Pentacles in Rider-Waite-Smith, when we look at that little snail at the bottom, if I can still, maybe I shuffled the deck. But yes, typically with that card, you would see the little snail hanging out and saying, hey, look at what I was able to create in my own time. So trust and kind of like allow that to come in the right time. All right, so the other thing that I would say with the turtle is there's hermiting energy. So I want you, although this isn't, it looks like it's an aquatic turtle. So fun fact, because I've done research on the aquatic ones, I don't think they can retract their heads. But the one thing that I want you to focus on, because the final word in the channeled messages was to keep the lights on, I want you to feel free to come out and be yourself, okay? So this is your chance to feel safe and secure, because the turtle has that back, you know, the hard shell, but keep showing yourself, keep trying new things, put yourself out there, just don't rush anything, okay? I think that's the key thing. Before I move into the next portion, let's look at the big idea. So instead of a full review, I'm going to highlight 2 or 3 cards. I think this is a lot more effective than going through everything. The big idea when I was looking at all of the channeled messages was basically what we see here, change and growth, right? And then also the ability to transform, because the Dragonfly is highly transformative. The other big thing as I'm looking at all of the cards here, especially when the dove came through, was when it comes to delivering a message, I want you to be able to use your own voice. Do it yourself. I think that's going to be a lot stronger than getting caught in the crossfire or getting blamed for the delivery of a message. And then when we're looking at the sort of general cards that came here, again, it says right here, let your glow do the heavy lifting. The more optimistic you are, the more prepared you are, the more you believe in something, the more it's going to happen, the better it's going to be in the outcome. Never underestimate your ability to manifest, because this is the key thing. If I had to pick my favorite card and the most important one in the spread, it's actually the 2 of Wands, followed closely by the 3 of Pentacles. So your vision equals eventually other people's recognition. And then if I had to pick one from the expanded forecast, it's to use this moment in time, because that morning glory there, particularly when it comes to a key relationship, says if you need to say something, say something. If you need to resolve something, resolve something. This is a small window during which you really want to make an impact, okay? We're going to move into the next section now, which is called blessings and blocks. But before that, I would like to put a couple of polls up so you can vote on it while I'm doing this. So we're going to do a viewer's choice poll, which again, while I'm speaking, you can do it, but try to vote and then pay attention. So viewer's choice, vote for what you want. And I'm going to put a few things here. The first thing that I want to focus on, or I think that you might like, is new cycles in your life. So I'll put that up here. What to release. We're going to do a lot of what we had from yesterday. I'm going to change this next one, which is say what you need to say, since that came up. Use this moment in time, since that came up. And I think that's enough. So you can vote on these while I'm talking about blessings and blocks. And then when the poll is done, I'll tell you who won. All right, so let's focus on blessings and blocks. The way blessings and blocks work are, I'm going to look at the best possible thing that you can focus on for this month. And then we're going to focus on the thing that could kind of be a tripping point for you. All right, so hopefully this will help you achieve all of your goals and dreams. All right, so we're going to start with blessings. Your first blessing message for this month is, what's the thing? And for many of you, because we have the 4 of Cups here, this is the thing you're missing. So what are you missing? What's the hidden blessing? All right, so So the hidden blessing this month is we have this Empress card, which is divine feminine energy, creativity. It's also leadership. So the fact that this is reversed means that you have the capacity to lead. The hidden blessing is you're kind of like this born leader or a hidden leader, or you're going to be able to step up to this challenge. The thing that you want to do in order to step into that is to let go. An Empress reverse tends to hold on to something, tends to focus more on controlling someone or something. So I think for many of you, you really want to make sure that you're not in that sort of controlling energy. Let people come to you. A good teacher will allow people to come to them, learn the lesson, or approach them and say, hey, this isn't working, is it? Are you interested now in growing and changing? So your hidden blessing is that you are a good leader. You may need to change up your leadership style, however, and I think that could help you out. Let's look at your potential block, and then I will end the poll and we'll look at the viewer's choice. All right, so for the potential block, something that could get in the way of you doing this, let's see. Block for the next 6 to 8 weeks for Taurus is, okay, letting your emotions get the better of you. We have the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups can be great. Nine of Cups is an optimistic card. Reversed, however, it can be about going to extremes, being too positive, to like Pollyanna type positivity, or being so upset by one little thing that it takes away the perspective of all the gains that you've made, all the positive traction that you've made. So I think for many of you, I'd like you to sort of balance it out. That's why we have this Hierophant card here as well. And also when we're looking at the Elixir card from the beginning, I got a little bit of energy of Temperance here because we see her sort of like with the water overflowing. So try to find the middle ground and try not to overdo things. Nine of Cups can also be overeating, over drinking, having too much fun, sleeping too much, not sleeping enough. You get the picture here. So pull it in, excuse me, as I'm going to take a drink, pull it in and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, including hydrating. There we go. All right, so that's the main message for the potential block. All right, let me end the poll now and see what's going on with this. Looks like News Cycles is winning, but I'm going to wait a second for it because sometimes when it's reported back, it's a little bit different. So let's see, we'll give it a moment to come through. Usually it puts the report right underneath. All right, so News Cycles won with 40% of the votes coming in. And thank you. All right, so we're going to look at news cycles in your life. Then I'll ask a couple of questions that I have before we meditate. Then I'll take one of your questions and we'll wrap up. All right, so news cycles. What does Taurus need to know about the news cycles, starting news cycles, this 2 to 4 year journey that we saw, what's coming through? Thanks to the 66 people that voted. All right, so for the news cycles in your life, this is another card of release, but what I like about this is it has more of the energy of what you'd see in the Thoth deck, which is a foundational Four of Pentacles. Traditionally, Four of Pentacles kind of hold that final coin right in front of our heart, right? And there's this feeling of, is this as good as it gets? Can I let this go? Am I worth it? Will I be enough? Can this happen? The answer to all of the possibility questions is, of course, it's possible. Of course, you're worth it. And yes, the time is now. But you can't hold on anymore. Just like the Empress card release, when you have a symbol of fertility like the Empress, delivery is part of that. There has to be birthing. 3 to 4 months, close to the end of this year. So we're looking at October, so November, December. I would say right around December or January for many of you, this is the time to make sure that you're on that new cycle. The fact that these are little sandcastles tells me that the beginning portion is always a little bit, it could be strengthened. I'd like to see more foundational energy put into it. So let go of the fear and frustration, put down a firmer foundation. We don't want just sandcastles. I want something a little bit more. The one thing I do like about this sandbox or the ocean is that you have the capacity to dream. So when you're a little kid and you're making castles and things like that, you just have fun. So I want you to get into that playful piece, like in business or in technology. A sandbox is a place where you can test things out. You can try things out. So definitely go into that exploratory energy. But then I want you to quickly move into making some of this firm and making sure that you're actually bringing it into fruition, okay? I think all of that will help. And when it's, again, if you're looking for timing, I'm seeing the end of the year, okay? So there you go. let's see. Okay, I think that's it. I just want to make sure there was no questions. Okay, so let me look at these really quick. One thing that I usually do for the soul path, I just want to see if there's anything missing. So it looks like you have pentacles. It looks like you have cups, just one. We have swords, we have wands. It's pretty balanced to me. I think that if I were to look at one other question that I as a reader would have, if I want to ask my guides what the message was about the lights. So when keeping the light on, what's the message for the collective here for Taurus about keeping the light on? So let's see if you have a message on how to stay in your highest energy. And then I might just take the second biggest question and we'll end the soul path with that and we'll go to the next phase. All right, so how do you keep the light on? How do you stay bright? Okay, now we have the Emperor, which is really making sure that you are the one taking the action, because sometimes other people just don't understand it. You have to walk through that doorway, you have to make the call, you have to do it. So ownership and basically believing in yourself, all of that's important, okay? And taking the lead is important too. And there may be sort of this solo energy at some point where if others can't allow you to shine the way that you need to shine, then you have to go a different direction and do it on your own. And just because I want to be nice to the people that got the second most, we're going to look at say what you need to say because it was second in the poll. And then we're going to go into the meditation and then I'll take the final question. All right, so how to articulate yourself and say what needs to be said. This is what I saw in my meditation. So we have 10 of Swords, but this 10 of Swords is reverse. What I like about this one is it's about elevating the message. So when I channel dreams sometimes, and even totems and messages, sometimes they come through in a way that wouldn't communicate well. Like it can be too fear-based, it just not be something relatable. So what I try to do then is take the symbol and elevate it and find the higher meaning. So in the conversations that you need to have, it does feel like for some of you, saying what you need to say, you could be afraid of hurting the other person, or it could be a little sharp. So what I want you to do is to think about what the conversation is really about. So if someone hurts you, why are you angry that they hurt you? The source of that, or the kind of like the center of this, is because you love them. So say, and maybe you were a really good friend to them or something like that. So you can say, I feel like we've always had each other's backs. I feel like I could really trust you. This seems really out of character and it really hurt me. And it makes me worry about the future that you and I have. So I want to talk about it. I want to try and heal it. That's better than saying, you did this, it hurt me, I'm angry at you. Again, kind of pointing the finger that we saw here. So elevate the conversation. If you're afraid of hurting someone and it's a good thing, like let's say you need to quit your job and you've got another job lined up and you're really happy, or some really great windfall came through. Maybe, you've got an inheritance and now you have the freedom to start your own business or something. You could also just be worried about hurting someone who depends upon you. So you can approach that in an entirely different way and just say, you've always taught me to sort of like do what I feel is right, to lead, to be the best person that I can be. This is something that's calling me, and taking all those lessons and putting them into practice tells me that the only path that I have is to move on my own and do this thing. So that's a nice way of saying, I learned from you and now I want to do that for myself. I can't just be like a captain in your army. I want to be my own captain. So you could be worried about hurting someone. It can also be for those of you that are coming out, for instance, and you're afraid of what your parents or loved ones might say. You can't be afraid of that because it's your own truth. So as long as you're speaking from the place of, I love you, you want me to be happy, this is what makes me happy. If you love me, you'll support me on this, and I know you will eventually. So kind of put it in those terms rather than asking for permission or pointing fingers or anything like that. Elevate it to the highest possible energy, which is usually love. If you can find a way to put love into the message, it's going to be okay. That's my message there on the 10 of Swords. Never fear the 10 of Swords, just get above it. And that's what she's doing pretty nicely in this card here. So many crescent moons, so many crescent moons. Pay attention to the moon phase. We've got no less than like 3 crescents, I think, that I've seen here. So there's a crescent here in this card that's not even related, not to mention another crescent on the outside. We've got a crescent moon here. We have a crescent moon here. So depending on when you watch this, the next waning or waxing crescent could be really impactful for you as well. All right, we're going to move along to the meditation. The next piece right after this is going to be a final card. The final card is the question you have for me that I haven't answered yet. Anything that you want to look at, I'll take a look at it. Just keep it to yourself, keep it silent, at least until after I've said what I'm going to say about that. Before we meditate, please hit the thumbs up just once. You can only do it once per video. If you're new, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you know when I do new videos, especially for the collectives. For those of you that have done that and the notifications are wonky, follow me on social media. You can look at the pinned comment up above. For those of you that were kind enough today to give back a little bit, thank you. I'll recognize you later. What I do on the collectives, by the way, is if you are a channel member, you get to vote twice on the topics. So just like I had some votes going on here, you can vote for whatever topic I'm going to cover on the weekend. I will post those on Saturday. I have to put up all the links for that upcoming video and everything. So give me a little time, but it should be up shortly after this, and the poll will be up on Saturday. All right, so for the meditation today, there's definitely, I want to work with the Dragonfly. It came through loud and clear. This meditation, by the way, will last about 2 minutes, so stick around, and then we'll get to your final card. So let's imagine that we are, yeah, I kind of want to go to like the River Nile or something like that, but just a really long river, because we were talking about Egyptian symbology yesterday, but see whatever river you would like, but imagine that you're seeing a beautiful river moving, nice, rapid pace, nothing crazy. We're not looking at floods or anything, just a nice, normal day. But I want you to look at the movement of that. Look at all the tributaries. Look at all the ways that this traces its signature across the earth. I want you to realize that your life flows very, very much like that river. When you touch certain parts of people's lives, when you touch certain places that you work, that you live, you leave an impression, you leave an impact. And I want you never to underestimate your impact and the capacity that you have to make a change. Let's focus now on directing the flow of your energy towards something that you really, really want to see in your life happen. Really get you into that Two of Wands manifestation energy. So imagine now that you are in front of the river and you can imagine that you're doing a sun salute. And as you outstretch your arms, you connect with the totem that we talked about earlier, the dragonfly. And you see, I think they have like 2 sets of wings. So you see the wings connecting to your arms. You see almost the same color that I have on, this beautiful blue energy moving through you. And you can now spiritually ride on the wings of that beautiful dragonfly. So allow your body to just sort of stay in this beautiful sun salute, then allow your spirit to take a ride on this dragonfly. And allow the dragonfly to show you with its wonderful field of vision everything that is, everything that was, and everything that can be. It's the ultimate high priestess card. It can see everything almost omnisciently from all points of view. So take a moment to look through those eyes and really see this moment in time for what it is. And just like the morning glory, which was on the love card, what's your big impact going to be? What's this special moment going to be? Are you ready to step into that? Because I certainly hope you are. Some great things are coming through. All right, so just drift on the wings of this beautiful insect. You can also imagine yourself hovering above the river if you want to, just looking at the sky, looking at the horizon, and enjoying for a moment while we meditate. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Let it go. With that exhale, I want you to realize and make the intention, set this intention in your mind that things are going to be smooth sailing. Things are going to be easier from here on out. Whatever it is that you hold in your mind and your heart, whatever that vision is, trust that on the wings of this dragonfly, on the wings of your own ambition and your own hope, which we talked about with the dove earlier, that you're going to be able to get there, that you're going to have the capacity to do it. And just trust yourself. Allow this energy now to fly back towards your body And keep the energy of the dragonfly as a part of you. Imagine as you keep your arms outstretched that the dragonfly snaps back into your body, and that it leaves a little bit of a gift. That energy is going to be with you as the dragonfly flies away. You still feel the buzzing, the high frequency, the vision. It gave you a little bit of its essence so that you can get through the next 6 to 8 weeks. If you haven't already opened your eyes, you can do so now. And let's move on to the final portion of this reading. We're going to look at the final card. The final card can be anything you'd like it to be. Keep it to yourself while I get started. And then if you want to share anything afterwards, you can. So just focus on holding it in your third eye, what it is you want. Say it out loud if you're at home. And just let me know what your question is. And I ask my guides and your guides to work together and help me pick the card that best represents the answer that you need. 7 of Pentacles, really good. All right. So the 7 of Pentacles is a very interesting card. It's mostly a yes when we look at this, but there's a little bit of a warning with the 7 of Pentacles, which is not to overreach. I want you to be very clear on what it takes to get something done here, and to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to make that happen, and not rushing it and not overextending yourself. So there are a few cards of balance and growth. The 2 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles tells me you can usually get through things, but you're going to need to focus on prioritization. And with the 2 of Pentacles, more prioritization needs to happen than the 6 of Pentacles. So really pick what you need to. And then I see rapid growth and recovery happening with the 7 of Pentacles. Ultimately, this tells me that you can heal, you can rebound, and the only thing that would take you off that path is if you are tempted or you walk down a sort of habit that you've already done before. So just learn from past mistakes, and I think you're on a really good path towards the future. Impatience can also be something that hinders the otherwise positive energy of the 7 of Pentacles. The 7 of Pentacles tells me you're on the plus side, you're going in the right direction. 8, 9, and 10, there's nothing wrong with it. Even if you take a half step back to 6, it's all good. So I really feel like you're going to be okay when it comes to new endeavors, new possibilities this month. It's looking pretty good. If, like me, you have a minor injury that you're nursing, it also tells me that you're headed towards recovery, okay? Hopefully yours is not as, it's not bad at all, but whatever you're dealing with, this is a recovery card, okay? Obviously, again, when it comes to health, get the help that you need. Speak with a doctor or specialist. But when it comes to finances and just general health and well-being, this is a good card. Just keep moving in that right direction, okay? So there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I hope you like the new format. I think it has a better flow. When this is on replay, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below so I can hear your thoughts, and hopefully you like the interaction as well. Okay, if you like what you see today, in addition to liking and subscribing, consider sharing it to your social media feed. When I post some of the recaps later on Facebook, you can do it, but you can also click the share button right here from YouTube. That also helps with engagement. So anytime you hit like, again, only once per video, if you've never subscribed, then subscribe, or you interact or put a comment, YouTube sees the video as being more worthy of attention. So every little thing that you do helps a lot. All right, let me just wrap up here, and then I'm going to say thanks to everybody that gave back. So again, social media handles, Nicholas Ashbaugh. I will post all of those cards that you saw, all these handwritten ones, on my social media platforms, so feel free to follow me later. I also do sub-tweets for all of the individual channel messages, so it's a nice way to kind of pick them up if you didn't have a chance to write it down. I already talked about the value of this. Thank you for all of you that have given back. Whether it's now or later. I usually try to heart everybody that gives a contribution through super thanks. And if you want to vote on the poll that I post on Saturday for Sunday's reading, you can click the join button below and become a channel member. You also get emojis and little badges so I can see how long you've been a member. So it's a way for me to see that. So thanks to any new members, or I think at the very beginning I noticed someone rejoined after not having a membership for a while, so welcome. So let me take a moment now to just, first of all, a reminder that I will be live again on Sunday. So let me just post a link to my schedule. I'm going to post the link also on the main page later. I'll put the Sunday Collective video link up within the hour, so you can click the reminder. I don't have the links generated yet. I'm going to do that today. All right. At this point, I'm just going to say thanks to everybody. So give me a moment to pull up the screen where I can see all of the contributions. And I'm just going to say thanks because I appreciate all of you. And I thought this was a nice way of just kind of connecting with everybody at the end. So for anyone who's stuck around, thank you. All right. So here's all the folks that were kind enough today to give back a little bit, and I appreciate you. Let me start at the beginning here. And I want to say thank you first to KK. Thank you, KK. I've noticed that you've contributed a few days in a row. Cherokee, you're always great about doing that. Thank you so much. Pardon me if I mispronounce it, but I think it's Vritti. Thank you so much for your contribution. Muggle, Jody Frazi, thank you so much. I've seen you several times as well. Majestic Garden, welcome. Martina, Faruza, Lila, Patrice, Stella, thank you all so much, and Diva as well. You guys are amazing. You help me do more of these videos, and I appreciate all of you. Also, for everyone who hit the like, the subscribe, for all my channel members and anyone that supports me on Patreon, thank you as well. All right, everybody, that's it for today, but I'll be back again on Sunday, and you can vote on Saturday. So until then, take care of yourselves. Have a great day ahead. Connect with that Dragonfly spirit and set some things into motion, okay? Thanks to Maria for her help in moderation as well. Be well, everybody. Talk to you soon.